Last year, more than 2,000 car dealerships in China went bankrupt. 5 different automakers went bankrupt in the country. Already one has basically gone bankrupt this year as well. But one of the biggest automakers has gone bankrupt. And we're now seeing a sign that a second automaker may enter preliminary bankruptcy as well. Citizens in China are saying the economy is in bad shape. There are numerous media reports pointing out that Evergrande, who went bust at a cost of $500 billion US, are now to be joined by a series of other property developers. The car market in China has suddenly collapsed. Yes, it's true that February is traditionally the worst month of the year for car sales in China, but February of this year has been the worst for a number of years. Look at BYD. Their sales have gone to their lowest point in nearly 2 years. And this is one of the fastest growing automakers in the world. What's the problem? Well, it's very complicated, but we do know this. Nearly every automaker in China have slashed the prices of their cars. I mean, if you're looking for a car to buy right now in China, there has never been a better time. If you're a car dealership or a car automaker, well, there's never been a worse time. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. It's great to see you. China's economy is in bad shape as President Xi Jinping scrambles to get it back on track. People inside the country are warning. The Chinese Communist Party has grappled with several economic crises in recent months. A stock market meltdown, the collapse of property giant Evergrande, and long-term problems posed by an aging population have all led to a slump. Ordinary Chinese citizens are now feeling the consequences of high unemployment and the property market requiring drastic interventions. Remember, many Chinese citizens have invested in buying a second home. That's where they put their money. They don't spend, they invest their money into buying an apartment in an apartment block. Those apartments, though, in many cases are now worth virtually nothing. Speaking to Bloomberg, a policeman in southwestern Chinese city outlined the issues facing China. Now, his name was Zhu and he wanted to be named with his surname only for fear of being arrested. He said, as long as my income was decent, I didn't complain. But now the economy is in bad shape. The leadership needs to show us some hope. Neil Thomas, a fellow on Chinese politics at the Asia Society Policy Institute Center for Chinese Analysis, told the outlet, everyone in society and in the government knows there are problems, or there is a big problem, a debt crisis. But there's not been any decisions made about new approaches to solving these problems. Yun Sun, director of the China program at Washington-based think tank Simpson Center, also said that one issue with the Chinese leadership is that people cater to Yi's preference for information and policies, which make objective assessment really difficult. In other words, everyone is telling the president of China exactly what he wants to hear. They're not telling him. Chinese automakers, not just Chinese automakers, actually, by the way, also Western automakers, are suffering big time in China. Now, I don't think he cares that Western automakers are suffering, that Chinese citizens aren't buying General Motors cars anymore, or they aren't buying Japanese cars anymore, nowhere near to the percentage that what they have been for the last 20 years. That's suddenly changed. I don't think he cares. He probably thinks that's a good thing. But it is concerning that Chinese automakers are struggling so much as well. Now, if we look at the discounts being offered by electric car companies or just car companies in general in China right now, you can see that Tesla actually has discounted their cars. They've offered some incentives over the last few days. Not big ones though. I mean, there are incentives. You can get insurance for free. You can get extra supercharger access. You can get some perks and things. You can get, a pretty good price. And to be fair, yes, it is cheaper to buy a Tesla vehicle in China than anywhere else in the world. That is true. But BYD has discounted their cars much more so than Tesla. And they're still not really selling. Now, I had a report on that yesterday. If you want to see that video about what's happened with BYD, which is a huge shock to everyone. I don't think anyone predicted this would happen. BYD's EV sales went down to 50,000 in a month. up from 160,000 in January. A huge collapse has just happened. Well, the surprising thing about this collapse is the fact that BYD discounted every single one of their cars, in many cases 2 or 3 times before this collapse happened. They've hit some sort of demand cliff. That's what people are worried about. Now, it's not just BYD struggling here. Li Auto has just discounted their cars. XPeng extends discounts for the G6, G9 and P7i after poor sales in February. NIO has done the same thing. NIO has offered more discounts. GAC Aeon has also dropped prices by nearly 20%. Now, GAC, one of the fastest growing automakers in the world, electric car sales were an absolute stunning success last year. All of a sudden, the last few months, things are changing. Now, Leap Motor has offered big discounts on their EVs. There has also been the concern, very real concern, that NITA, one of the biggest automakers in China, could be about to go bankrupt, possibly. It's postponed paying its workers a bonus fee that they were meant to get. It said it can't pay that fee. It's going to reassess in a few months' time. Workers are obviously pretty angry that this is happening. But this just gives you an idea that even some of the biggest companies in China are not immune from the bloodbath that XPeng CEO referred to is going right now. He's emailed all of his XPeng's employees saying there is literally a bloodbath in China right now. Now, IM Motors had to secure financing from the finance market because it needed that financing. That's SAIC, a Chinese government-owned company. It had to basically go to the private market to get funding. What does that tell you? I don't know, but it's maybe not a good thing. Now, looking at the other discounts being offered, you've got SAIC MG offering discounts. You've got IM Motors offering discounts on the brand new LS6 SUV. You've got Toyota selling their electric car at prices that are about 40% below retail, which is insane. And then you've got other car makers like BMW and Audi giving their employees 50% discounts on new cars. There is massive, massive price discounts going on in China right now in order to just fight over the market. And it's really, really tough for a lot of these car manufacturers as their sales begin to fall. Even Zeekr, one of the biggest success stories over the past 12 months, Zeekr and Geely, they have begun offering discounts on the brand new upgraded 001 electric car. Li Auto offering significant discounts. This is literally a bloodbath right now. And here's the thing. Legacy automakers, they have flooded the market with internal combustion engine vehicles that they believe they won't be able to sell very soon because there are changes that are being made to the laws around emissions in China. This means that companies like Toyota, Honda, and General Motors are trying to get rid of as many internal combustion engine vehicles that they have. Now, they have literally overproduced. Nissan, they've overproduced. They've made too many cars last year because their sales were nowhere near what they thought they would be. So they're selling a lot of those cars at very, very low prices, and that is making competition extremely difficult. Now, headlines this week have created another headache for the Chinese government as factory activity shrunk for a 5th month in a row. Some foreign investors have taken their money out of the country amid the ongoing crisis. Now, we've seen the stock prices of these EV companies in China decline significantly. All of this is to do with investor worries about what's possibly going to happen. The country's Ministry of Commerce met with foreign investors this week to get their feedback on the Chinese economy. Jens Eskeland, president of the EU Chamber of Commerce in China, said, "The impression that most of us were left with was there's a genuine desire to turn things around in China by the government. They are aware that there are big problems right now." I think authorities were actually encouraging openness, and I think a number of participants were fairly direct in the comments they provided. Now, I would warn about being direct. Now, fortunately, I live in Australia, but we do know what's happened to some Australians who have been direct in China about their perceived issues in China. They get locked up. This happens to Chinese citizens. It's true. It does. Guys, when I was in China, I had my blog, my website, and I was traveling the world, but China was just one of the countries I visited. I wrote an article on that on my website, showing some of the zoos they have in China, which keep these animals locked up in chains and beat them. I actually filmed the animals being beaten. Within 24 hours, my website was deleted, removed from the internet. Now, it was hosted by Wix. So somehow, Wix was hacked and my website was completely shut down. Fortunately, it's not so easy to do that when it comes to YouTube. Thanks for watching.